Jeff Shears.
That's true.
I'm gonna tell you something, working outside in the cold all my life, from 20 below zero. Best thing for your feet, I hear all this talk, regular pair of work boots, 5-buckle Arctics over top, your feet will never get cold. You're standing there for 5 hours working on.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. Regular Board of Finance meeting is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All our regular members are here today, so we do not need to seat alternates. Minutes of the meeting of November 18th. They were sent to everyone. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Mr. Riley, is there a second? Second. Thank you, Tom. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Ordered. Public comments. No members of the public are here. For Selectmen's report, Jeff, what do you got for us?
Part of the reason for me to come here in my report is officially to notify the Board of Finance that we are AAA rated. That is taking the town of Southbury, when I came into office in 2015, from AA2, AA1, and now AAA.
Oh,
No
I just
exceptions
lost
on
it.
audit reports. And we are doing pretty.
I'm sorry, I can't hear anything.
I came to make my report, which at the top of the report here is that to announce officially to the Board of Finance that we are AAA rated. Having brought the town from AA2 when I came into office up to AAA, which is the highest we're going to go. So talking with Dan a little bit about bonding and what that means to the in bond rates, possibly by being AAA, if we bond a certain amount of money, I think it's like, if we were to, 10 million, savings to the taxpayer of like approximately, Dan, $800,000.
Yeah, a little less, but
A little less, thereabouts. No exceptions on our audit reports. We haven't had exceptions in quite some time. Also, to wish everybody happy holidays, safe travels wherever you go. If there are any questions from me? Any questions? I'm good.
Okay.
Just one, pat on the back to Dan and all the people that's put so much effort in getting the AAA. It was, a lot of work, and so I want to acknowledge that how much work was done to get that.
yeah, it was a lot of work for the whole team. We put a lot of effort into it, and pretty amazing. But like I said to Jeff, it's we're at the apex now. So where do we go?
Nowhere to go, right?
But again, Tom, the thing to understand is
Jeff.
it wasn't just the financials, it's also,
No, I know. I mean,
Policies and procedures.
I know the whole rating
It's a
scheme
lot.
as well as anybody.
it was a
But-
team from every aspect.
No, I agree, but nobody, well, besides the few of us from Board of Finance are about, nobody else in the team is here. Betsy, okay, great. Thank you, Betsy.
Okay, Dan, your comments on the S&P, any?
No, it's just like I said, it was an effort by amazing effort by this board, the Board of Selectmen, First Selectmen, the Finance Office, everyone that was involved. Our assessor, tax collector. It was a group effort, and like Tom said, it was a lot of work, but pretty amazing we got there. So, and we'll keep going. I mean,
Cybersecurity.
it's
emergency
a lot of
management.
stuff that we had to put in place to get there, and our audit report, and one thing I'm really proud of, we're the first town to issue financial statements every year, and out of the 169 towns in Connecticut, the budget our size and financials our size is pretty amazing. So it's a testament to the people in the finance office and everyone that gets involved.
How many other towns in Connecticut have AAA?
I think there's 16, but I'm not 100% sure.
Not many.
Yeah. There's not many our size, though. Most of them are bigger Gold Coast towns.
Okay.
you know, when I first started, they said it was unattainable for a town this size, so.
I think the thing we ought to keep in mind is, while it's good for us, it makes a real difference with this, if the school builds these 2 new schools they're talking about, or 1 new school or somehow, and with $100 million projects and them bonding 50 or 60 million of it, that a tenth of a point makes a big difference on that much money over 20, 30 years. I happened to talk to Mr. St. John about it, and he said, well, we're in the same shape you are. We just have to get the rating. We just switch to S&P. I said, well, okay. I think that's important for the folks in Middlebury, because as I'm led to believe, the school's rating is fundamentally 1 grade lower than the lower of our 2. So
Just by policy?
I think that's what I understand. I think one of the bond people told me that, and I don't know who says that. Maybe it's the marketplace, I don't know. But if Middlebury goes with S&P, and I suspect they're financially as strong as we are, whether they have all the policies, procedures, and all the stuff in place that we do, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a good challenge, and the 800,000 you said had nothing to do with the schools, right? The number you quoted,
Yeah.
Dave, had nothing to do with
Yeah,
this.
and I agree, I think Middlebury's just as financially strong as we are, and the school district has to be 1 rating below us.
Right.
It's just a,
So, because it's a regional district?
Yeah, because it's a
One rating
regional
below or
district.
lower of,
The two.
1 rating below the 2 towns in the region. So if Middlebury could get the AAA as well, the region would then hopefully go up to AA1, which.
is it
on a-
automatic? Or do
It's
you
not
have-
automatic, they would have to work with.
They'd have to
with
do the same
with the
stuff,
agencies
right.
and,
Yeah.
and, you know, that would save the taxpayers of Southbury and Middlebury a considerable amount of money on a new school bond.
My question on that, Dan, is, it's not automatic.
Not
But one of my concerns about the school district is the pension plan, and the rating and the funding percentage of their pension plan, not the teachers that are under the state plan, but the people who are under the district plan, that they are significantly less funded than Southbury is.
I don't
And
think-
the issue is, how would that affect?
I know, John,
rating.
they've been working really hard, and I think, Tom, you're on the committee.
Yeah.
They've been working really hard to get that funding ratio up. And I know their discount rate is 6 3/4, so it's not an out of the ballpark discount rate they're using. But,
And like I said last time, I don't think, I mean, compared to us, they look bad, but they're compared to the average school district, they don't look so bad.
and I think they've done a lot, I think, you know,
And they've done a lot in terms of, they've done a ton in terms of, you know, in terms of managing all the, you know, the governance pieces of it. You know, the whole governance piece, they've done a lot of work on that piece, on the pension. And hopefully more broadly, you know, but on the pension, certainly, they've done a ton of work on the governance portion of it. And I don't think that they're, you know, even though, I mean, we have, from a pension perspective, we have very high standards, you know, and I don't know to what degree, you know, I would have thought that the pension, we could have gotten the AAA with the lower standards on the pension, I think. But, I mean, so it's good maybe to keep pushing them, but I don't think that they're in bad shape that way.
Okay, I think we've beat that one enough. They are certainly aware of the implications of our bond ratings, Middlebury's and theirs, so I hope they'll keep working on that.
Well, one more thing though, John, what would really be more is the audit piece.
The fact that they get clean opinions and they have internal audit, or what? Maybe
Well, they haven't had an audit, have they? What's like?
They do, we put their audit report up, they're not as quick as we are to get them done, But we will probably get, Joe Martino sends me the audit fairly quickly once it's done, so I assume we'll
Okay.
have it, January,
But
February.
it's still with the same group, right, and everything, all that?
Same, yeah, they went out for RFP, but no one responded to the RFP, so,
Yeah, okay.
when they went out for
Okay,
audit
right.
firms.
Yeah.
What the scuttlebutt is behind that, we don't know.
Well, I
Probably
know.
not good,
And,
but-
and hopefully the years that they put between that and now is.
Yeah, they have a really strong financial team in place right now. I mean, Joe is,
No,
one of the best.
I agree. It's just the, okay, anyway, that part, hopefully there's enough between that and them and now to not be a problem.
Okay, financial statements, item 9. This is a consent agenda item. Are there any items on the financial statements that people would like to address specifically? Not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the statements as, acknowledge receipt of the statements as presented. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jack. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Ordered. Item 10. Transfers.
there were no transfers.
There were no transfers early in the year. Future business.
Cell towers, I'm
Cell-
still working on it. Don't have anything to report right now, but hopefully next meeting I'll have something.
Okay. When you get a meeting with a guy, can you loop me in? I'm really
Oh,
curious
absolutely.
as to
Yeah,
if we could do that.
yeah, it looks like we can, John. I think we just have to raise the tower about 20 feet. But it looks like we can.
Just want to hear what the guy has to say about leasing opportunities, revenue potential, risks. You know, there's
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, for sure. Okay, reports. Tom, IPOC.
No meeting. We got a November report and we're doing well. So I just got back from Pennsylvania. I was gonna check it before I came in, but I didn't. But I looked at it when I got it and then we're as you would anticipate, all ships are up right now, so that's, again, knock on wood, we're almost halfway through the year and all the different, the pension fund, the gift fund, and the reserve fund are all doing well.
Okay, Board of Education, Janet isn't here as the liaison for the two middle schools, elementary, middle schools committee. The Board of Education accepted the recommendation from the committee to retain, I can't remember the name of the construction manager firm. So the Board of Education has approved both an architect and a construction manager, which is to come up with potential designs, which is a state standard. It's what you have to go through. So that's in progress. I think someone asked, was it John, what the target was for when they hope to be done? They'd like to be done at the end of this fiscal year by June, but it depends on what comes up with the sites that they intend to look at and what the options might be. So they're working on it.
I assume this is conceptual design,
Yes, this is conceptual, yeah.
not detailed.
Oh, no. These are not plans and specs. These are, if we do this building, what is involved with phasing, if we combine buildings or do away with one or tear them both down.
Or renovate.
Or renovate both or either, just, what are the economics? But they're certainly not plans and specs. But the numbers they come up with are a benchmark. So they need to be reasonably accurate.
Of course, when you hire architects and construction firms, they're in the business of designing and building new buildings. There's a self-fulfilling prophecy here that I just think needs to be stated publicly.
There's no question that renovating 50-year-old buildings with PVCs and asbestos and et cetera issues are very expensive. And might be more expensive than a new building, but you just don't know until they come to do their work. Insurance Working Group, we have nothing.
We have nothing. We are going into rate renewals now, so hopefully January, we'll have more on that, but, we don't have anything on the renewals for our medical or our, liability insurance yet.
Roads and Bridges, Jack,
No
anything?
report,
Nothing.
missed the meeting in December.
Yeah, the meeting they didn't have a quorum, so they couldn't move forward, but they did discuss next year's road budget and bridge budget, but they couldn't because they only had 2 members show up.
I didn't get an announcement, I gotta grab Matt and make sure he had said he was gonna get me, so I've gotta get reconnected.
Okay. They put a really good, proposal together, so it'll be interesting when we present it, but they put a good proposal together.
RUPAC, no meeting. Strategic Planning, John?
I attended the December strategic planning meeting, which will probably be the last meeting of that group, because when the terms of members that are currently on it, whose appointments expire at the end of this year, when those terms end and no one has been appointed to replace them, then there are only 2 people left, and those 2 people both advised the commission that they intended to resign in early January, so that group will no longer have any members left.
Thank you. Energy Task Force, Tom?
Yeah, so as I've been saying, we put out the RFP for the solar project up at the transfer station, and we got quite a response, so we got about 10 different vendors.
We did, how many did we get?
We got 10 different vendors came.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, probably about half of them are maybe we think are, maybe fly by night or really couldn't do it, but we've got at least 3 or 4 very good vendors who've done this kind of project before involved. So, and we did some walkthroughs up there. So I think we could put something up, and there's really not much, almost everybody tells us we can't do it incrementally, okay? So either it's all in or none, okay? Or the incremental, we could do it incrementally, but the cost is gonna just be so prohibitive versus just all in or none that they wouldn't recommend doing it incrementally, okay? So that's one thing. The other thing, we could probably put enough power up there to do our town 2 times, like probably twice the power we need for our town. So the second
Of
issue.
the town?
Yeah,
It would cover the town power plus
we could sell
2
it.
times.
You could potentially sell it or give it to the region
Um,
even.
So the other half of it, we need to either, negotiate that the hell out of the advantage we get out of that if we take a PPA or a lease agreement, or if we buy it, if we build it ourselves, then figure out how we're going to, what kind of agreement we're gonna get. We've talked a little bit to the school about taking it, and Joe has expressed some interest on that. One thing about that is I guess we'd have to figure out how we negotiate a fair price for that with them, which might be an interesting conversation. But anyway, there's enough capacity, that we could certainly power the whole town times 2, roughly. The other thing, though, up there is they're all kind of interested in the cap and in the landfill piece of it, and what, they're gonna need, like, special set of work because it's a landfill. I don't know, Betsy, we've had a little bit of trouble locating the initial.
Yeah, we can find the permit, we can't find the schematics for it.
But we called, Fuss and O'Neill, or one of those guys, I think they might have it.
They were
so-
involved, I think, Tom, if I looked at it too, I think they should have it, but
Yeah, well, we called them, and they made contact with the woman who actually was involved with it somehow. She's still there, And so they're cautiously optimistic that they might be able to get it. But we're also hoping it's somewhere. Okay. But the more that we can do to deal with all the the other issues, the issues away from the solar panel, and they don't, they don't have to deal with it, then obviously the less it costs, right?
Tom, I think we need to remember that, that certainly the Board of Finance has not approved such a thing.
I know.
And I don't know where the Board of Selectmen is. Really curious to look at the details of the options and the alternatives.
Yes, I agree. And so-
When might we be?
Well, one thing is, we don't think we're gonna get that, one thing they've all given us feedback about too is it's gonna be very difficult to get into the so-called February auction and that. So it's probably gonna be a next fiscal year thing, for sure now, I think. But I don't know, I'm hoping in the next few months that, we make it more concrete and start to bring sort of concrete proposals forth,
I think we need to remember that our unassigned general fund is now earmarked elsewhere until we get the bonding in place. So,
Well,
as of now, and I'm sure by the next 3-4 months, we'll have all that in place.
No, well, I agree with that, and I'm saying the next 3 or 4 months won't make much difference for this, I don't think. So, a lot of towns do leases or PPAs, right? And so that would sort of require no money up front, right? If you did that, you just probably are giving away a lot of the upside.
I think we need those guys to come back here with the revised numbers and the proposals.
I totally agree, but we're not quite at that stage yet. We've got 10 guys, and we've walked them through, and they're going out, giving us their numbers now. We haven't collected real numbers yet from anybody.
Should we look forward to that in January or February, do you think?
I'd say,
I don't know when the bid closes. Do you know when the bid closes, Tom, I think?
well, I think it's closed already, but but some people came in late, and we pushed it a little bit further, and I don't think we probably won't see it till February, I'm guessing.
Probably, the March meeting. John.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack has grabbed the mic. Jack?
Well, just to make sure we're clear, when you said power the town, you're not talking about powering the entire town of Southbury.
No.
You're talking about
Municipal.
powering the town's buildings
Yes,
and
exactly.
transportation routes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, because that's a whole nother discussion, there's been a lot of people through the sort of strategic task force and other things talking about much more elaborate things that this is not that, okay? So yes, we're not gonna get into the power business, we're not even talking a microgrid, we're just talking about a solar panel, okay?
I mean, everybody would like 10-cent power in the town of Southbury, but
Yes, but yes, I agree. It's just powering the town buildings.
Okay, that's what I had in mind personally.
Yeah, the bid deadline is 1 o'clock this Friday, so we should have some of the results of what they're looking at this
Okay.
Friday.
All right.
So are we saying March, the Board of Finance should expect a briefing from your committee
Yes.
with a
Yes.
PowerPoint and the numbers and stuff?
Yes, certainly by March. I'll see but they have a meeting tomorrow night, so I maybe know more what they think about
Could-
timing for then.
Could we, as soon as they have their first draft of it, because I know after we saw their first draft, we had questions and they had to go back, and we don't want to unnecessarily prolong it. Maybe they could get us the drafts of what they're looking at, or they could come give us a preliminary briefing. We
Again,
don't have to wait.
well, yeah, well, let me see when's the January meeting?
It's early because of Martin Luther King Day. It's the second
20,
Monday.
Yeah, it seems kind of early for that, to get that done, so I'm saying let's do March. Let's aim for March, if that's what.
February gets a little busy with the budget.
Yeah.
We could have a special meeting. We don't want to hold it up.
Well, I don't think you're holding it up, okay?
Okay.
We're not holding it up.
Okay, well then March. March is
Let's
good.
aim for March.
Okay, good enough. Any other questions or observations about the Energy Task Force? Okay, ARPA, Dan?
We're trying to schedule a meeting to allocate the remaining $1.5 million. So we sent an email out today to all the members. Hopefully we can get that set up sometime this week or the week after Christmas. One thing we have is we were deciding on setting up a kind of a fund for people whose driveway or didn't get a full FEMA allocation. I talked to our social services director, and she was gonna get back to me to see how many people are actually reaching out to her. But I think that number's pretty low.
Look forward to getting the information.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
What, explain
That's
that
it?
to me? Well, what does that mean exactly, the last thing you said?
Say that again?
The ARPA,
Yeah.
we're trying, one of the things we were trying to establish when the storm first happened was establish about a $400,000 fund for people who were not getting either reimbursed from
Right,
FEMA
right.
or, and to set it up like a small cities, a loan program where we put a zero interest loan on the
Right.
property until they sell it, then they pay us back. But we're starting to realize that maybe there's not as many people out there that need it as we had initially thought.
Oh, okay.
This was before FEMA actually started the reimbursements.
Okay, okay.
Frankly, been surprisingly more responsive than.
Does that mean we have extra ARPA funds that we,
Well, we had the 1.5 was allocated to the ladder truck, but we were gonna move some of that to this particular fund and do 1.1 to the ladder truck. So we can either roll it all back to the ladder truck, or we can set up this fund if there's a need for it.
We'll hear more from them when it's appropriate. I think the
Yeah.
ARPA reports to the Board of Selectmen, because we are technically not in the
Yep.
decision loop. As long as the ladder truck gets funded, we're happy.
okay.
Okay, well, look at that.
One
Yes,
question.
Jack?
How did we do on the pool this fall, schedule-wise?
Schedule, we are actually on schedule. Blake and myself met with the engineer, the pool contractor, and the pool builder on Friday of last week. And according to the pool builder, they're gonna pour cement this week. Temperatures should be okay for them to do that, and we are still on schedule to open Memorial Day weekend.
This warm weather and the rain takes any frost, any freeze out. Now with the warm weather,
That
probably
was-
ideal to pour right now.
My big concern was we should have poured probably a month ago, but they said everything's okay, based upon the weather now. And we're still on schedule. Yeah. So they will blanket it once they pour if they needed to. We specifically asked, Drakely Pool, he's the expert on this shock REIT that they put in the pool. He's the world expert on it. He gives talks all that. And I asked him specifically on Friday, would it be okay? And he said, yeah, he's not foreseeing any issue on it.
Well, there are also additives they can put in the concrete for cold
Yeah.
weather as well, so.
Yep.
Dan,
Pouring concrete too quickly is not a good thing either.
No.
just on that, I just make a comment on what happened when the school rebuilt their pool at the high school.
Yeah.
Was they had, and their consultant told them that the pool would be ready for the September swim season. Okay? And the whole season went by, they had to rent space in other pools to take the team to compete. And so I'm just saying, take with a
Yeah.
grain of salt, what the
Absolutely.
consultant tells you now, because when you start going in the ground, you always find
Something.
something.
Yeah, the great thing is if you ever go over there, it's pretty locked up, but you can see through the fence. The form of the pool is in, the rebar's in, so you can actually see the shape in the pool, how it's gonna look. It's just hopefully they pour this week. That's my and I'll stay on them to make sure they get that done.
Luckily, Southway has a pretty good record about on-time and within-budget construction projects, so
And we have a really good pool task force that's looking at it, so, you know.
if you don't mind saying so
If you-
yourself,
sorry,
right?
If I don't mind saying so, with the guy
He's
next
the
to me
chairman.
who was on it, so, yeah, we're doing well. But, you know, we asked specifically about supply chain, if there was anything issues with supply chain, and they said, no, they don't see that right now. The gutter system is pretty much ready to be built. They're gonna build that off-site and then deliver it and install it sometime in April. Equipment, they're not seeing any real issues with getting anything right now, so, you know, we'll see.
Okay, that is the official agenda. Is there anything that anyone feels we should add to the agenda which would be appropriate as we're a regular meeting? If not, we are adjourned.
That's a record, isn't it?
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
It is a Merry
See you all next year.
Yeah.
That's John's gift to us.